How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be doing another Dollar Tree movie haul. This is Volume 3, and before we get started, I just want to say that this is easily the most successful series on this channel, so to anyone who's watched the videos and liked them, just thank you. You're really helping this channel out. And that being said, today we have another 9 movies, all from the Dollar Tree, and if you know this channel, they are primarily horror movies. There are a couple things in there that aren't. And the main haul is going to be 7 movies, and I have 2 other movies also from Dollar Tree, but I'll explain them when I get to them. So, also this is a haul video, which means I just picked these movies up, so I haven't seen them yet, and it's primarily just my initial impressions and thoughts and why I picked them up. But that being said, I actually have watched the first 2. I just this haul was a bit ago that I did it, and I went ahead and put 2 of them in because why not? So these first 2 I have actually seen already. I'm gonna start off with The Unwilling. The Unwilling, hence Will, this dad, he's on the back here, he dies and his kids go to a reading of the will, and at the reading of the will they get this box, and you can't see because of the shadows, it's got an octopus on it. The box will give them something that they want, but in exchange for that, a demon's gonna possess them, and it's one of those possession movies, but it hops amongst all these characters. There are 6 characters there, and they each have their own things, you know, like the main guy is agoraphobic and he's got OCD, so they each have their own things that they're dealing with. And overall, this is clearly a direct-to-video movie, and you could definitely see it, but it was fun enough, and they really did try to do something. You know, so if you see it for cheap enough, like I got this for $1, definitely well worth that. Not the biggest movie ever, but hey, for $1, a solid pick. Up next, another movie kind of in that zone, Aura. Now, the first time I read this, I mistakenly read it as Aurora, so if I slip up and say it that way, I'm sorry, it got stuck in my head wrong. But Aura, and this actually has a really nice slipcover on it. I really like slipcover movies. They a little, you know, squarer and smoother. They look nice on the shelf. But anyway, Aura is about this guy. He inherits a house. It used to belong to his uncle, and his uncle has a special camera that can take pictures of people's auras. Now, a long time ago, his sister went crazy after a night with his uncle, and she's been in an insane asylum ever since she was a kid, so a long time ago. But they find a picture of her aura, and they begin to suspect that a demon's inside of her. Well, not a demon, it's actually an old Agent Lovecraftian force. So they get this supernatural expert, and they have to try to get the demon out of them. So it kind of becomes more of an Exorcist type movie. But yeah, you got the camera, which I don't think actually had a display because it was an old camera. But yeah, and there's the sister there. So it's a camera that takes pictures of people's auras. It's a really gothic and moody movie. Again, you can still tell that it's direct-to-video. But overall, pretty effective, and again, you know, find it for cheap. $1 was definitely a fair price to pay for this. A pretty good direct-to-video movie. So now into the stuff I haven't seen, but starting with the thing that I was most glad to find, we have Wolf Creek 2. So Wolf Creek 2, obviously the sequel to Wolf Creek, and the first Wolf Creek was a pretty famous slasher as far as, you know, modern slashers go. Australian slasher. This guy, he seems pretty nice, but of course he's secretly got a sadistic side, so an older Australian guy, and then secretly a killer, and it's on the Australian outback there. Really excited to pick this up. I'll probably have reviews for Wolf Creek and Wolf Creek 2 on this channel pretty soon, but a sequel to a big modern slasher, that's pretty cool. Up next, kind of a follow-up to part 2 of this series, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency Season 2. For those of you that watched part 2, I found Season 1, and now in part 3, I found Season 2, so they were really quick to get Season 2 out to the Dollar Tree as well. I actually haven't even had time to finish Season 1 yet, so Season 2 here. Glad to pick it up. I mean, I don't know how many seasons there are of this show, but I'm getting a nice little collection. I've only spent $2 on it so far. This is the same guy, Douglas Adams, that did the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books. He did the books that these are based on. So, really cool and glad to pick this up. I usually cover mainly horror on this channel, but maybe I'll do a review for the seasons of this show. I don't know. So that's Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency Season 2. And up next, Door to the Other Side. Now this one I had seen at Walmart way back when for like $10. They put it out at Walmart right when Other Side of the Door came out. So it kind of trying to cash in on that concept. From what I gather, it's this guy who's afraid to leave his house, and he's getting evicted, so he's going to have to leave, and as all that stress goes on, he also starts to see ghosts. It seemed interesting enough, but, you know, I always kind of am leery of those, you know, cashing in on a bigger movie type movies, but for $1, I'll see what's up with it. This is Ford Digital Media right there. Ford Digital Media, they're one of the companies that does a whole bunch of those direct to Walmart stuff, so, hey, if I can pay $1 for it instead of $10, really saves me a lot. Next we have this movie called Good Neighbors, a twisted film noir. So I'm guessing this is more of a thriller. You get these three people, they're in a city, probably New York, and there's a killer outside, so they start to stay inside more. But of course, they begin to suspect in these three people, that their friend group, that one of them may be more connected to the killings outside than they think, and it becomes this thriller, film noir-esque thing. I don't know very much about it, but it definitely does seem interesting there. So maybe not pure horror, maybe more thriller, but I'll definitely check it out for $1, you know, a cool, creepy city movie, you know. Oh, and hey, the spine, I love the little hand on the spine going, ah! Good Neighbors. Up next, we have a movie, Sanitarium. I think I'd seen this a few times in the stores, never picked it up, but for only $1, and then if we look on the top here, Malcolm McDowell and Robert Englund. Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself. He's one of those actors I always love to see when he's in horror movies. I'm like, hey, it's Robert Englund. I'll pick up the Robert Englund movie. But Malcolm McDowell, he's like a psychiatrist at this insane asylum. I thought it'd just be an insane asylum movie. But if you look at the back, it goes, all these people star in 3 chilling tales of unspeakable terror that will drive you over the edge of reason and beyond. And then if you look at all the writers and directors listed on the bottom, this appears to actually be an anthology horror movie, like Creepshow or Trilogy of Terror. And Malcolm McDowell's probably the connecting character, and Robert Englund's probably in one of the shorts. So an anthology film, I'll definitely check out that. So that's 7. That's my initial haul right here. I have 2 more. And so with these next 2, a lot of times when I go into Dollar Tree, I won't find too much and I'll only pick up like 2-3 movies or something like that. So I only really share when they're a big haul. But since I usually do 9 movies and I only had 7, I figured with the extra space I'd share some movies that I thought were cool that I got in a smaller haul. So this next one, I Saw the Devil. This is an Asian horror movie about this guy. He's a serial killer, and he kills someone's loved one, like a girlfriend or something. And that guy who had his loved one killed is determined to find this serial killer, but not just to stop him or bring him to the police or anything. He wants to inflict more pain on the serial killer than he's caused. He wants to teach this killer a lesson. So it's kind of a turntable movie. So you get this killer versus a good guy who wants to do worse things than the bad guy's done to the bad guy. This is filmmaking on a whole new level, a masterpiece from Chud. But it's one I had heard about, and one that, from what I gather, is really good, and I was glad to pick it up, especially for only $1. This one I've been wanting to get for a while, so glad to get that, and hey, unrated cut, so that's cool. And then lastly, we have Electric Boogaloo, the wild untold story of Cannon Films. Cannon Films was this studio, and they wanted to make big action movies, but they never quite had the budget, and they, always had problems trying to get it to pan out as good as they wanted to. So, an interesting studio, and you got, of course, Chuck Norris and Superman sharing the same cover with this. That's cool. And, of course, you got him on the spine there. And then here's a back with the spread of all their different movies and these little hexagons. But yeah, they made lots of interesting, cool films and ultimately went out of business. But it's cool to see a documentary about them, a documentary about a production house and their ups and downs and all their different movies is something I was definitely interested in. So glad to pick that one up. So that's another 9 movies from the Dollar Tree. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll get to volume 4 pretty soon. Anyway, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'd like to thank everyone who's liked and subscribed. You guys are really helping out the channel, and it's great. I'll see you guys next time.